Welcome students. In today's the fifth session where we learn about the same as it is the activity ratio. This is the continuation of your fourth session. Now let us see previous problem. It was an assignment question which I was given. Cost of goods sold was 5 lakh, opening stock was 40,000, closing stock rupees 60,000, and here you should find out the stock turnover ratio and average holding period. The answer for that, the stock turnover ratio, compare your answers. The stock turnover ratio would be, you guys might have got as 10 times, and the average holding period, the answer would be 37 days, or else you might have got as 36.5, so it might be converted as your 37 days. Now in this problem, let us see in different method. Here the problem is like this. From the given information, calculate stock turnover ratio. Here we need to calculate your stock turnover ratio. So in sales rupees 3 lakh, gross profit they have given in terms of percentage, that is as 25%. In previous problem you would have seen the gross profit which has been given in the amounts, but here they are mentioned as in terms of percentage, that is 25% on cost. So we don't know the cost. Now opening stock was 1/3 of the value of closing stock. So hence closing stock was 30% of sales. So sales they are mentioned as 3 lakh and the closing stock was 30% on sales. So hence with the help of this closing stock we can identify the opening stock, because in this question they said opening stock was 1/3 of the value of closing stock. Now as we know, while calculating the cost of goods sold, because right now in order to calculate your stock turnover ratio, the formula states that the cost of goods sold divided by average stock. Now in order to calculate your cost of goods sold, the formula which states sales minus gross profit, but here the gross profit, sales we may get that as 3 lakh rupees, but gross profit we don't know because it's on the percentage of 25% which on cost. So hence we need to identify the gross profit, the exactly the amount of gross profit. Now let us see the calculation. Now as we know, cost of goods sold, in order to identify the cost of goods sold, the formula is sales minus gross profit, but here gross profit we don't know. Why? Because they are mentioned in terms of 25%. So hence we need to take in this method where given gross profit was 25% on cost. Clear? We don't know the cost. Hence let the cost be 100 completely, because on that we will get the 25% as your profit. So hence let the cost be as 100. Hence add the gross profit percentage as 25. Since the required sales would have been was 125. Now, as I said, the required sales would have been 125. When the sales is 125, then the gross profit will be as 25. So, 25 is your profit. Next, when sales is, as we know the sales value, that is as 3 lakh rupees. When the sales value is 3 lakh, then we don't know the gross profit. Why? Because the 25% we don't know. Hence, in order to identify that, the gross profit is equals to 3 lakh of sales into the 25% of your gross profit divided by the overall sales is how much? 125. So 25 divided by 125. Hence your gross profit will be 60,000. With the help of this, we can identify now the cost of goods sold. The cost of goods sold, as I said, the formula is sales minus gross profit. That is sales minus gross profit. Now we know the value of sales. The value of sales is 3 lakh. Hence minus the gross profit where we have identified was 60,000. So hence finally cost of goods sold is 2,40,000. As we know, in order to calculation of stock turnover ratio, the formula is stock turnover ratio which equals to cost of goods sold divided by average stock. So hence in this problem we have identified the cost of goods sold. So only one thing we need to identify now, that is about your average stock. In order to calculate your average stock, the formula is opening stock plus closing stock divided by 2. Now the opening stock, what they have mentioned is 1/3 of the value of closing stock was 30% of sales. So hence two things we need to identify. One is your closing stock, the another is your opening stock. As I said, in order to calculate your average stock, that is opening stock plus closing stock divided by 2, but we don't know the average closing stock as well as your opening stock. So hence we need to identify. So let us take that into your from your as the part of your working note. as in the question states. So here opening stock was 1/3 of the value of closing stock and the closing stock was 30% of sales. So hence first we need to calculate your closing stock, later only we can identify your opening stock. So now let us calculate the closing stock. The closing stock was 30% of sales. As we know, the sales is 3 lakh. So 3 lakh into 30%, the closing stock where we can identify easily, that is 90,000. Now, with the help of this, we can identify your opening stock because they said 1/3 of closing stock will be the value of opening stock. So now 90% into 1/3 value will be your opening stock. Let us calculate that. So as I said, opening stock on closing stock, that will be a 1/3 value. So hence 90,000 into 1/3, the value will be 30,000. Now we got the value of opening stock as well as closing stock. So we guys going to add these two together and divide with 2. Hence you will get your average stock. So as I said initially, opening stock plus closing stock divided by 2, which gives the value of your particular average stock. Now opening stock, how much we got? That's as 30,000 plus the closing stock we got as 90,000 divided by 2. So finally average stock is 30,000 plus 90,000 divided by 2. The value will be 60,000. 1,20,000 divided by 2, that will be 60,000. Now we know the value of cost of goods sold where we have calculated, that was 2,40,000. Take down the same 2,40,000. Now average stock we have identified as 60,000. So easily we can identify the stock turnover ratio. The stock turnover ratio will be as 4 times. So 4 times in a physical year where we have bought and sold. This problem is very much important. The next problem, that is 14th problem, that can be asked for 2 marks. So here you guys can see that average stock of the firm, which rupees, stands as 40,000 and its opening stock is rupees 5, but which is less than the closing stock. So hence we need to identify your closing stock as well as opening stock, but average stock we have got as 40,000 and they have clearly mentioned that its opening stock is 5,000 is less than your closing stock. Hence we don't know the both the things, that is your opening stock as well as closing stock. We need to identify the 2 things. So this is important for your 2 marks question. Let us calculate now. Here in order to calculate your average stock, the formula stands as opening stock plus closing stock divided by 2. But we don't know the both the things, either that can be our opening stock or the closing stock. So hence, but we know the average stock which was as 40,000. So how to calculate this? Very simple. We guys can go with your cross multiplication. So after the cross multiplication, the steps is like this. Opening stock plus closing stock is equals to 40,000 into 2. The value will be as 80,000. Now in the question they said there's a difference. Its opening stock is 5,000 less than the closing stock. Hence that 5,000 is remains as your difference amount. So we need to minus the difference amount. So 80,000 minus 5,000 equals to 75,000. This 75,000, what is 75,000? It includes both the things. Either that might be opening stock plus your closing stock. So we need to divide these values into different aspects. So let us see the calculation. The opening stock, as we know, this 75,000 which includes 2 amounts, that either that might be opening stock as well as your closing stock. So 75,000 divided by 2, which the value will be as 37,500 and 37,500. So this 37,500 the closing opening stock, but in the closing stock they said 37,500 plus 5,000. This 5,000 where we have considered, this is the difference amount. It has been asked in your question. So here they said its opening stock is 5,000 less than the closing stock. That means closing stocks 42,500 means it should be less than, opening stock should be less, 5,000 should be less than your closing stock. So hence 42,500 is your closing stock and 37,500 is your opening stock. The difference amount where we have directed over here. Why? Because this amount which includes 2 things, opening stock as well as closing stock. In order to show the difference, we have less this value. After that, we have considered that value with your closing stock. Why we have considered here? Here they said the opening stock value will be less than the closing stock. That means 5,000 should be less than your closing stock. So when you compare these 2 things, then 5,000 will be your difference amount. So this is what complete 2 marks problem for your examinations, where we guys going to see the 15th problem. The same method that will be for your assignment. Calculate this problem, the same similar problem of your previous 14th problem. The 15th problem is same as like your 14th problem. So this will be also as for your 2 marks question. The average stock of the firm was 80,000. Its opening stock is 10,000 less than the closing stock. The same previous method, and here you need to identify your both the things. One is your opening stock, another one is closing stock. So follow the same 14th problem. This is the next problem, that is 16th problem. Credit sales rupees 2,70,000. Total debtors in the beginning, that means opening debtors, that is as 55,000. The total debtors at the end, that means closing debtors, that is rupees 45,000. Written in words where they are mentioned as rupees 20,000. Here we need to calculate your two things. One is about your debtors turnover ratio, another one is average collection period. So let us solve this problem with the help of these many items. So hence, debtors turnover ratio. In order to calculate your debtors turnover ratio, the formula states that net credit sales divided by average accounts receivable. Average accounts receivables. Let us see the calculation in this. So as I said, debtors turnover ratio, the formula is net credit sales divided by average accounts receivables. So there are two things, net credit sales as well as average accounts receivable. So how to calculate the net credit sales as well as average accounts receivable? First, let us see net credit sales. The formula is net credit sales equals to total sales minus cash sales minus sales return. But if you see in this question, they have not mentioned anything about your total sales. So they are mentioned only about your credit sales as well as your sales return. So yeah, let us consider these two things, either the cash sales or the credit sales. We are going to consider the credit sales, how much they are mentioned as 2,70,000 minus the sales return, they have mentioned about 20,000. This is what the sales return, that is written inwards what they are mentioned. So hence the finally your net credit sales, which equals to 2,50,000. Now we got easily the value of your net credit sales, that is 2,50,000, but we don't know the value of your average accounts receivable. In order to calculate your average accounts receivable, the formula is like this. Listen carefully. Opening debtors plus opening bills receivable plus closing debtors plus closing bills receivable. In this question, they have not spoken about anything, or there is no information anything about your related to bills receivable. They have mentioned only about your total debtors at the beginning 55,000, total debtors at the end of 45,000. That means opening debtors, closing debtors. We guys going to consider only these two things. But that is, opening debtors is how much? 55,000 plus closing debtors, that is 45,000 divided by 2. So now average accounts receivable. So here we guys can mention that as ARR. The average value of that is 50,000. So hence 2,50,000 divided by 50,000, the debtors turnover ratio, which equals to 5 times the debtors turnover, which equals to 5 times. Now apart from this, they have said to calculate two things. One is debtors turnover ratio, another one is average collection period. Now let us calculate the second one, calculation of average collection period. In order to calculate this average collection period, as I said, there is a certain formula. The total number of days in a year divided by debtors turnover ratio. The same formula where we are going to consider. So this is the formula, total number of days of a year divided by debtors turnover ratio. The total number of days in a year, 365. So as I said, there might be a leap year. So as if you consider like 2020, there's a leap year, that is 366 days will come. So keep remember whether you are dealing with the leap year or the normal years. So now 365 days in a year, and debtors turnover ratio we got as 5 times. So mention that as 5. The average collection period is 365 divided by 5, which gives the value as 73 days. So in an average, the company's collection period will be as 73 days. So this is what the problems on your debtors turnover ratio. Let me explain this problem in detail. So first, credit sales rupees 2,70,000, total debtors in the beginning 55,000, total debtors at the end 45,000, return inwards 20,000. So here you need to calculate two things. One is debtors turnover ratio and the one is average collection period. So here in this problem, first let us see the calculation or debtors turnover ratio. Formula states that debtors turnover ratio equals to net credit sales divided by average accounts receivable. So this is what the formula, but here they have not mentioned directly the value of net credit sales and they have not mentioned the direct value of your average accounts receivable. In the question they have said in the different way, and we need to identify the net credit sales as well as average accounts receivable. The net credit sales, in order to calculate that formula, is total sales minus cash sales minus sales return. But here we doesn't have cash sales and we doesn't have total sales, but they are mentioned about the credit sales. So credit sales is 2,70,000. Directly we would have been taken this 2,70,000, but they are mentioned sales return. So hence we need to minus this value. If they have not mentioned this return or sales return, then directly this would have been the net credit sales. Clear? So but here they are mentioned about sales return, so minus that value, and finally we got the value as 2,50,000 as the net credit sales. Now in order to calculate your average accounts receivable, the formula is opening debtors plus opening bills receivable plus closing debtors plus closing bills receivable divided by 2. But here opening debtors as well as bills receivable, they have not mentioned about bills receivable of opening as well as closing. They have mentioned only the opening debtors as well as closing debtors. So we have considered only these two things, that is as 55,000 as your opening debtors at the beginning and closing debtors as 45,000 divided by 2. The value will be as 50,000. Now we got the average accounts receivable as 50,000. So 2,50,000 divided by 50, the value will be as debtor turnover ratio will be 5 times. So hence another calculation was calculation of average collection period. In this, the formula states total number of days in a year divided by debtors turnover ratio. So debtors turnover ratio, as I said already, we have considered as 5 times or calculated. Now total number of days in a year is 365 days divided by 5. The 365 days, yes, it can be taken in the normal way, but check out whether the problem is given so and so date means or so and so year. Check out whether that year will falls into a leap year or what. Clear? And then 365 divided by 5, the value will be as 73 days. So average collection period for this company is 73 days. So this is what the complete problem about your debtors turnover ratio. This is the last problem under your activity ratio. In coming up next problem, we'll solve together the solvency ratio and activity ratio as well as your liquidity ratio together in one problem. Now let us see. In this problem, from the following we need to calculate 4 ratios or 4 calculations. One is your payable turnover ratio, which means nothing that creditors turnover ratio, and average payment period, debtors turnover ratio, average collection period. These two things where I will calculate, and debtors turnover ratio and average collection period you need to calculate in your notes. Now the question is like this: sales rupees 8,75,000 and creditors rupees 90,000, bills receivable 48,000, bills payable 52,000, purchases 4,20,000, debtors 59,000. So yeah, debtors which relates to your debtors turnover ratio and creditors which relates to your creditors turnover ratio. Now we need to calculate the first calculation as payable turnover ratio. That means creditors turnover ratio. In order to calculate this creditors turnover ratio, the formula is, because as I said, the debtors means it relates to your sales. So creditors means it relates to your purchases. So hence creditors turnover ratio equals to net credit purchases divided by average. In the debtors turnover ratio, we would have taken as average accounts receivable. So hence if it's in creditors, we are going to consider as average accounts payable or average bills payable whatsoever. In this, they have not mentioned anything about your opening and closing balance, anything. But in order to calculate your net credit purchase, we doesn't have any issues. Why? Because there are no more purchase return or no more credit or anything else. Directly they are mentioned as your purchases 4,20,000. So take down the same value as 4,20,000, but we don't know the value of your average accounts payable. In order to know this average accounts payable, we have average accounts payable. The formula is like opening creditors plus bills payable plus closing creditors plus bills payable. Here no more closing and opening and everything else, just they have mentioned about the creditors, that's what 90,000, and they have mentioned about the bills payable, that is as 52,000. Add this together, that is as, because it is not mentioning anything about your opening as well as closing, so we don't want to divide with your 2. So we don't want to divide with your 2, but the formula states that opening and closing, and if they are mentioned, we would have been divided 2. But here then there is no more opening and closing. Directly they have mentioned about 90,000 plus 52,000. So add those together, that is 1,42,000. This 1,42,000 directly is known as your average accounts payable. So hence 4,20,000 divided by 1,42,000, that is 2.95 times is the value of creditors turnover ratio. The creditors turnover ratio is 2.95 times. Now let us calculate the second one, that is average payment period. The average calculation of average payment period, the formula is same as like your average collection period. So that is number of days in a year divided by creditors turnover ratio. In the total number of days in a year is 365 days, and divided by the creditors turnover ratio, where we have identified as 2.95 times. So then that is same, that is 2.95 times. So hence now divide that value, that is number of days is 365 divided by 2.95, the value will be 123.7 days. So in simple round it off, 124 days. The average payment period, the average where it is going to be the payment in a year, that is 124 days. The next two calculation here, that is about your debtors turnover ratio and average collection period. Identify yourself. Thank you.